everybody? Welcome to another episode of Super Gamer Boys. I'm your host, Colonel and Dad, Garrett Morlang, and here in the virtual studio with me is the king of video games and elite game publisher, Adrian Holmes. What's up, Adrian?
What's going on, man? I am doing good. I'm doing even better today, remembering that my name is not Phil Spencer or Sarah Bond.
Okay.
Because I'm sure they're getting thousands and thousands and thousands of questions today. So
you think they're getting a lot of that hate mail?
That's probably putting it lightly with some of these weirdos out there.
Oh, man. Yeah, we're going to be talking about that later on the show, but boy, oh boy, is like the entire gaming world on fire right now.
On fire this weekend.
So much for the, console wars. They're dead, all right? They've been put to rest. They've been put to rest. Final nail in the coffin. They're
in
done.
our lifetime, they very well could be, but we'll talk about it.
Well, will they, though? Will they?
How about yourself? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I am, survived another Monday. So I guess that's a plus. That's a plus.
Yeah. And you are also not Phil Spencer.
Also not Phil Spencer. That's correct. Although I'm sure being Phil Spencer would have its perks as well. That would be kind of cool.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. But when you think about days like today.
Yeah. Not today.
Not today. Today is not one of the ones.
Oh, man. Just getting through Monday. I'm hoping tomorrow that you just reminded me of it right before the stream here, but now I'm excited for this week because tomorrow we could potentially get that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yes, sir.
That's the rumor because we're getting that state of play all about the new Rebirth game. So one could hope. I'm just holding out hope that we get that old demo. Maybe we'll be playing that later on this week when I stream. Which, by the way, I feel like we've done a bad job of announcing at the top end of the stream. So I'm going to announce it here at the top end, not the back end like we have been. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we've been streaming and playing some games together. Tuesday nights, Adrian streams. I've joined him a couple times playing Pale World, but last week you played a solo game. This week, we've talked about maybe jumping into some of the Next Fest demos, some of those indie games that are popping up on Steam. And then, again, like I just said, I'm hoping that if there's a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth demo, I'll be playing that Thursday. And if not, I'll be right back in Half-Life. I've played a couple times now, getting through, or Half-Life 2, I should say. So we'll see. TBA for my stream. But yeah,
I can't imagine they don't put a demo out.
That'd be wild. Be so sad. But yeah, so we get you can join us both at twitch.tv/the Super Gamer Boys and at youtube.com/Super Gamer Boys for those streams. Alenzia is in the chat and says demo is coming for sure.
Got to.
I hope so.
You don't do a whole state of play and then not drop a demo, dude. There's no way.
It would be wild, but it's also. PlayStation does strange things. Square Enix.
They all do strange things.
It's two very strange companies working together here. So
that's fair.
We will see. Oh man, Salkis calls me Half Garrett too. That's it. That's
Half Garrett. Oh, like Half-Life.
That's the name of the stream for now on. Every time I play Half-Life. All right. Well, let's get on to the actual, the rigmarole here of the show.
The thing
Today,
we're here for.
The whole thing we're here for, Today, we're going to be talking about Xbox games coming to PS5, the PlayStation State of Play announcements, and if the PSP is finally coming back. But first, let's give a quick shout out to our Patreon producers, Bumble Smash and Kajoma01, and our Super Gamer sponsors, Julie Bates, Mama Mare, and Carrie. If you want to be awesome just like those folks, head over to patreon.com/supergamerboys. Support's over there starting at just $1 a month. That's right, $1 gets you episodes early and ad-free, such as this show, such as our Patreon exclusive Super Later Boys, which reminds me I need to edit the one for this month because it's going to come out in probably like a week or two. I think I usually release those like in the middle of the month, so about a week or two. That'll be coming out, so stay tuned for that. That's a fun one. We record it with our buddies Connor and Eddie, so it's the four of us get together and chat about some I mean, all sorts of random things. We went in with a topic, and it was kind of fun having Connor because he just has that podcaster soul. He can't help himself, where he just starts like kind of just running the ship a little bit. He just kind of jumped in.
First memory with this game.
I mean, but he was getting like,
that was a pretty good Connor.
He was just, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. He just gets real deep real fast. I'm like, man, like you're a fantastic podcast host, way better than I. So stay tuned for that one coming in a couple weeks here, exclusively to Patreon. And we'll talk more about our Patreon later on the show. Right now, I do want to give a huge shout out to Jack Sriracha and Yate for allowing us to use their music, as well as DJ Trooz. I keep forgetting that I got that DJ Trooz right now running in the background. Probably extremely. Oh no, I turned it down. Okay, it always worries me every week that it's too loud. It's not too loud. Hopefully you guys can even hear it. If not, you'll definitely hear it when you listen to the podcast. But it is DJ Trooz. He makes some incredible tunes. Support all of those artists that we mentioned here by going to the description over on YouTube and podcast services. Links will be to Spotify and Apple Music. Show them some love and support. Listen to their music. Add them to your playlist because they deserve all the love. They make some good stuff over there. And with that, I guess that's it for the housekeeping, as they call it, and it's now time to check the mailbag, except the mailbag
would be
empty.
It would be
a good time. It would be a good time.
We have to fuel up. We have to pay for that fuel for Super Gamerbot, right? You know that.
Yeah, there's a generator out back. I gotta fill it up. Gotta pull the string on it. Fire it up. This like an old weed whacker.
Send us some questions, please. What are we doing?
It's not cheap to run your own AI.
It's not cheap.
But we did get a submission from our friend Carrie, who submitted a news story that they would like us to chat about here. And I love this so much. As soon as I read it, immediately I was like, okay, if you guys were around a couple weeks ago, we read that article about Waluigi not getting his respect in 2023 for the first time in 20 some years,
and then coming to the conclusion that he does not deserve that
he does in fact deserve probably his own solo game. Not only does he deserve to be in every Mario game.
No, you misunderstand me. That he does not deserve a solo game. That's what we came to the conclusion of.
He deserves all the flowers, man. He deserves everything. He is honestly above Mario in my books.
Yeah, so above Mario, he was in Smash. Oh wait.
Oh, it hurts. But no, we have this article here from Screen Rant, written by Kyle Grattan. Mario Wonder showed the Goombas' plight in the Mushroom Kingdom's tyranny. You heard that right.
The Great Goomba Pilgrimage.
The Great Goomba Pilgrimage. So this is probably gonna have minor spoilers or major spoilers. I don't know. Minor spoilers for Super Mario Brothers Wonder. It's not like a main story point.
Goombas are in the new Mario game.
A single level in Super Mario Brothers Wonder provides a transformative perspective on the plight of the average Goomba. Philosopher Thomas Hobbes once famously wrote in Leviathan that the life of man devoid of society and governance has solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short, and the same can be said of the Goombas, whose ranks have been largely cast out of the Mushroom Kingdom and seemingly other nations such as Wonder's Flower Kingdom. Mario's quite literal squashing of the Goombas under the boot heel of the Mushroom Kingdom has long been the subject of jest, but a Wonder Flower gives a glimpse into the creature's true, terrifying existence. Roughly halfway through Super Mario Bros. Wonder, a Petal Isle level called Mama Mouthful becomes available. A Wonder Flower found in a small alcove there transforms Mario, or any of Wonder's playable characters, into his quintessential enemy, a Goomba. Goombas designed to resemble shiitake mushrooms are inextricable from the Mario franchise, being the first enemy ever faced in the iconic 2D platforming series. While the Goombas originally joining the Koopa Troop makes them enemy combatants, Wonder suggests that they were perhaps justified in rebelling against the Mushroom Kingdom. All right. So you've played this level, so you know exactly what we're getting at here.
Played it to death.
Since their debut in the original Super Mario Bros., Goombas have posed very little threat to Mario and his friends, but Mama Mouthful and Wonder and Way of the Goomba in the Special World reveals that Goombas aren't a threat to any creature in the franchise kingdom. Goombas effectively have one boon. They can walk on spikes unharmed. Other than that,
they're slow. What is this Goomba propaganda you're reading right now?
They're slow, cannot jump very high, and have no arms. Goombas in 2D Mario games will even walk off ledges if given the chance. It would appear that Goombas live under almost constant threat of death, as plumbers from Brooklyn aren't exactly their natural, nor their only predators. Becoming a Goomba and reaching the Wonder Seed in Maw Mouthful requires frequent hiding behind trees to avoid the titular Maws, who charge their prey with mouths agape. Goombas have virtually no defenses. They can headbutt, but that maneuver is unlikely to have any effect on any other Mario creature. It's perhaps wishful thinking that Mario would internalize his harrowing experience as a Goomba and refrain from stomping them out of existence in the future. Mario's dedication to Princess Peach, and by extension the Mushroom Kingdom, however, seemingly doesn't allow for any mercy. And it's easy to see why the Goombas would, out of sheer desperation, turn to Bowser and the Koopa Troop for a chance at protection. Oh, so good. The Mario franchise's whimsical nature has never left much room for the politics of the Mushroom Kingdom and neighboring sovereignties, but the original Super Mario Bros. Game manual does note that little Goombas betrayed the Mushroom Kingdom and allied themselves with the Turtle Tribe, aka the Koopa Troop. This implies that the mushroom-shaped foes were once citizens of the Mushroom Kingdom, which is supported by non-hostile Goombas still living in the Mushroom Kingdom in other games, like Goomba Mario from Paper Mario. The existence of friendly Goombas shows the species is not wholly united.
Shout out my boy.
Animus toward the Mushroom Kingdom, but an overwhelming majority joining Bowser's legions does suggest that they were justified reasons for turning on Princess Peach, the Toads, et al. The Toads live in relative harmony, but Mario constantly having to come to their aid implies they too are rather toothless mushrooms, aside from likewise outliers such as the adventurous Toad Brigade, who appear in Super Mario Galaxy. For all their similarities, it draws into question why many Goombas felt the need to rebel, and why the Toads remain in a position of power up to and including Peach's attendant and confidant. So this is a wild article, but
I have many thoughts.
I love it because basically it's kind of saying the Goombas might not be as like they're only bad because they were so abused by the Mushroom Kingdom, basically. Like they're just like, that's kind of what I'm picking up here.
This is propaganda. You look at Princess Peach in any of her appearances, and you tell me where you think that's the kind of leader that would abuse her people.
I mean, why else would they have left?
Here's my theory. Theory? You ready?
Give me your theory. Yes. Hang on, real quick. Selkie says Goomba Agenda. Just got
Goomba Agenda. Thank you. Hashtag Goomba Agenda. That's what this is.
I guess technically it'd be Goomba-ganda. Are you
Goomba Ganda? It could be Goomba Ganda.
Are you mixing propaganda with Goomba or an agenda with
It's
Goomba?
both. It's both. This story is Goomba Ganda, and it's part of the Goomba Agenda. That's what's going on. Okay. Look, we know that Bowser is the sole leader, dictator of the Koopa Kingdom, right? And he's always wanted to take over the Mushroom Kingdom. What do leaders of one country do when they want to try to take over another country? They try to sow dissent in the population against the current leader and show how good of a leader that they would be. That's what Bowser did.
Okay.
So Bowser he went in, he was a little Pied Piper, and he started talking to some of the Goombas, and he was like, hey, I would actually do X, Y, and Z if I ran this place. Wouldn't that be cool? And some of the Goombas went, yeah, that would be kind of cool. And that's what happened is they defected over to the Koopa Kingdom. And the rest is history. Now, you do have some who see through the sweet nothings, like Goombario and his family. My forever boy had my back throughout all of Paper Mario. But we're not necessarily saying that Goombas are the absolute smartest creatures in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Wow, Adrian, really? That's where you're gonna go?
Here's my theory for that. Wow. Hold on. I'm gonna bring it full circle. Here we go. That level in Mario Wonder suggests that Goombas are not much more than prey for other species. Okay?
Selkies, Goombism.
Goombas get ate by mamas.
Okay.
Goombas have to fight for their lives and hide because they don't have any defense mechanism, just like other prey animals.
But that doesn't make them dumb.
What do you mean?
Well, you said that most Goombas might not be very smart, and then you're going on to describe that it's because they're like helpless. But I'm just saying, just because they're helpless doesn't mean they're dumb.
If you can get eaten by a big, slow mama, Garrett, come on, you see mamas coming.
Again, it doesn't mean the Goombas are dumb. It just means they're helpless.
No. Also,
I'm all for it. I think
they don't think to call on their great leader. Actually, you know what they are? Because remember, there are some Goombas who wear spikes to try to help with defense. The ones that don't wear them, dumb.
Yeah. I mean, you got a point there. I at least think this should be the topic in the next Mario game, where he kind of wakes up from a dream in a cold sweat, suffering from PTSD from that experience. And then the game is all about his kind of coming to grips, like, am I doing the right thing here? And it's more of like a game of like him having this like existential crisis. And like, I've been doing this for decades. Like, boy, should I have been doing this? And him exploring that. And then, further, I don't know. I mean, Nintendo, they're good at writing stories. They can write their own story into their own ending. But I think that would be just, I think, a dark, gritty Mario game where he's having to come to grips with like the years of lives he's just ruined. All these Goombas meaning well and nothing, like, just living their life, Now,
here's my last part, right? Here's my last argument of why this is Goombaganda.
Okay.
Whenever you look in a Mario game, we'll say from, we'll say Mario Brothers Up, or new Super Mario Brothers Up, right? Whenever there's a Goomba on screen and you get close to it, it starts walking faster towards you, trying to attack you. Mario's just acting in self-defense. He's just acting in self-defense. They are attacking him. Not only that, they're in areas where they're hanging out in Koopas. So you already hanging out in Koopas with Koopas. Come on.
Because they had to. They have no choice.
What do you mean they have no choice? They got Peach.
They were pushed out of the Mushroom Kingdom because Peach didn't like them.
No, they weren't pushed out.
Just like Selkie said.
This Goombaganda. They weren't pushed out of nothing. Have you seen the Mushroom Kingdom? Sprawling, green, water everywhere. Toads happy as can be. What Goomba wouldn't want to stay there?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there was something they didn't like. She must not have been nice. There was something they were missing out on. There's something.
Bowser, you know what it is? You know what it is? Because you said you just helped me out. I got it. Okay. Goombas are helpless, remember?
Yes.
What if Bowser said, if I was running Mushroom Kingdom, I'd make it so you guys could go anywhere you wanted to go. You wouldn't have to hide from anything. You wouldn't have to hide from mamas. You wouldn't have to go under rocks and behind trees, because I would build things for you to help you protect yourselves and fight back against these things that have been plaguing you for so long.
Okay, then why wasn't again? Like, this is still painting Peach to be the bad guy, because Bowser did. He gave him helmets and little pokey things, and also, and like Peach did nothing for him. So,
but Peach she's not an aggressor, right?
But she should still make the residents of the Mushroom Kingdom feel safe to a certain extent, right? There's a responsibility as a leader to bring them some semblance of safety, or at least a feeling of it. And like the fact that she didn't even try to appease that by, like you said, they're so hopeless and helpless. Like, all right, give them something, but she didn't. So they went to Bowser because he's like, hey, I'll hook you up. And I mean, he only partially, like, really, they're still living in constant fear and danger.
I was gonna say he hooked them up, all right. He gave them a spike on their head. Wow,
better than what Peach did. Better than what Peach did. Oh man. Selkie says we need to look at Monty Mole blind and Mario destroys his ass. Poor guy. You didn't see it coming. He's just like chilling.
Monty Mole hears Mario's vibrations and jumps out to get him. All right, that's what happens.
Oh man.
Still an attack. Still self-defense. I rest my case.
And Lindsay says maybe Mario is the bad guy after all.
Never.
I agree. Maybe. I'm not saying he is, but maybe. Maybe there's something he needs to at least visit. He needs to go to therapy.
I can't believe this Goomba agenda going on here.
Goomba agenda. Oh man. All right. Well, that is it for our mailbag segment. If you have any questions for us, please write them into us. I mean, you can write them in, send us a DM on social media, or the more fun ways, if you join us on our Discord, supergamerboys.com/Discord. Go over there and hang out with us during the week and talk about what video games you've been playing, movies you've been watching, memes that you think are funny, whatever. And again, drop your questions there. We got a channel there. You can write in whatever you would like, and we'll answer it right here on the show. But now it's time for the nerdy nudes.
It's now time for the nerdy nudes.
All right. Hopefully that transition worked. Yes, there it is. Everything's there. News stories there. We're there. Perfect.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right.
What's up? Did we coin those terms before we get started? Goombaganda and Goobagenda?
Selkies did. It's kind of him.
We're in the sphere. We're working on this project together.
He's one of us. He's a collaborator.
Right. I'm gonna search online. I want to see if somebody did it already. You go ahead, keep talking. I want to see.
All right. Well, yeah. And if no one has, we need to keep a close eye on that, because if that starts popping up around places, we better be credited as the creators. If they start writing more articles over at Screen Rant and they start using that term, we better be credited.
I do not see Goombagenda anywhere.
Okay. There it is.
So Goombagenda is ours.
Credit Selkies and Super Gamer Boys.
Hold on.
We'll
now let me do Goombaganda.
Goombaganda. This is so off topic. I love it. I mean, it's on topic, but we're trying to move on to the next topic.
Nothing for Goombaganda.
Okay.
Selkies, if it ever blows up online, we know where it came from. We know where it originated.
We know where, right here on Super Gamer Boys. In the Super Gamer Boys chat. All right, this first news story comes to us from, let me see, Adam Bankhurst. I say this every time we have a news article from him. I need to reach out to him. He followed me on Twitter one time, and I need to be like, hey, come on our show so we can talk about your news stories. But he wrote this good one over at IGN. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle and possibly Starfield are reportedly being considered for PS5. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle and possibly Starfield are reportedly being considered for PS5, and this may indicate a new multi-platform approach inside Microsoft for certain Xbox games going forward, if it proves to be true. As reported by The Verge, a source with knowledge of Microsoft's plans have claimed the company is weighing up which titles will remain exclusive and others that will appear on Switch or PS5 in the future. Indiana Jones is seemingly part of this new plan and could be one of the first to kick off this new strategy if it ends up happening. Assuming this plan goes forward, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle appears set to launch exclusively on Xbox and PC in December 2024 and would arrive on PS5 after a rather short period that could just be some months later. Once again, it's important to take all this with a grain of salt as plans change all the time, but the conversations look to be happening inside Microsoft. This report also follows rumors that Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves may also be jumping to other platforms as well. That was actually another article we were going to talk about tonight that got bumped, but Hi-Fi Rush is apparently coming to at least a Switch and possibly PlayStation after some getting into the source code stuff. There's some little secrets hidden in there in an upcoming update.
I'm gonna buy it again.
Yeah, dude, it is so good.
I'm gonna buy it again.
I'll buy it the first time. I didn't because it was on Game Pass the first time, so I'll buy. If I need to, I'll buy it.
Right.
That's not all, however. The Xbox Era is reporting that Starfield may be another game to make its way to PS5. According to Xbox Era sources, Microsoft may be planning to launch Bethesda's space RPG on PS5 after the already announced Shattered Space expansion that is slated to arrive later in 2024. Furthermore, has been claimed Microsoft is making even more of an investment into PS5 dev kits to support this supposed multi-platform strategy it may adopt. Ahead of Starfield's launch, the question of its exclusivity was one of the biggest out there. While it turned out Starfield was exclusive, at least at launch, these potential new developments will also surely bring back the Elder Scrolls 6 into view. While it hasn't been 100% confirmed, Microsoft's own internal documents have claimed it will skip PS5, will only launch on Xbox and PC. Once again, plans change all the time, as is possibly evidenced by these reports, so it's important not to take anything as fact until it happens. So, there's some... this is what we were referring to earlier with, the gaming world seemingly burning down all weekend. People were not happy about this. Not happy. Because, the console wars, they aren't dead. They aren't. In fact, as much as most of us have grown up and moved on, there's a lot of us who haven't, unfortunately. And boy, oh boy, were people furious.
Well, the worst part about it is, like you said, it's we come in and we joke about it from time to time because it's fun to make a joke here and there, take a stab here and there. Mm-hmm. But most of us really know we don't really mean it. But like these people have based their entire personality behind a plastic box, and they are going to fight to the death and insult your family and dox you over a plastic box, bro. It's scary.
Yeah, it's a little wild that people respond so intensely over their video game being available to more people to play. Like, it's like, hey, all right, it's, first of all, it's not yours to make the decision, and secondly, I don't know. It's nothing is promised. Nothing is ever 100% locked in on any of these things. Like even just with this digital future, we talked about this a few weeks ago with digital games and physical stuff, and it's like even that's not a for sure thing. Like
no,
you can't ever expect anything to be locked in for sure here. So
I knew that when I got into it, though.
Yeah. I mean, well, piggybacking off that, then, like what you say there, we kind of knew if you were really paying attention to what Phil Spencer and the boys over there were talking, and the girls, if the folks over at Xbox, then we've all seen this coming a mile away, right? Like
ages ago.
It's been years where them over at Xbox, they've all just been going on and on for years now about how they want their games playable everywhere. They're trying to get Game Pass everywhere. They're trying to get their games everywhere. They're trying to it's been their motto literally since halfway through this the Xbox even the One era, when Game Pass kind of launched towards the tail end of the Xbox One era, has been their motto is to get their games everywhere, playable everywhere, everyone playable to everyone. And so I guess most people just expected, it's going to be through a Game Pass app or it's going to be through a whatever, but it would never come to Nintendo or PlayStation. Never go to the competitors. But here we are, the possibility of it going to their competitors, and it's I mean,
very real.
It's surprising, but also they've been kind of saying this for years, and we just didn't think they'd actually go that far. But you know what? They're going that far.
Phil said years ago that people think that Sony is their competition at this point in time. Sony is not Microsoft's competition. He said that already. He said their main competition is other services and mobile. Why do you think they bought Activision Blizzard King? A big part of it was Call of Duty, yes. But the one part that nobody talks about is King. King is a giant in the mobile industry. They rake in billions of dollars a year just off their games alone. That's what Microsoft is making sure that they're able to compete in. Sony, this is fun, going back and forth with PlayStation for a few years. But at the end of the day, this is not going to last. It's not sustainable. And I think that they've been playing chess this whole time, trying to figure out new markets to get into and to try to make sure that they have something long after, buying games from the store at $70 or whatever that we used to do is no longer in fashion. We see it right now. Digital's getting bigger and bigger every day.
Yeah.
And they have capitalized on it. They've made a service that caters to that. So they're looking towards the future. So like we've been saying, Phil's been saying this forever. So anybody who's like, I never thought that they would bring their games to PlayStation, you weren't paying attention.
Yeah. You just were not listening.
You weren't listening. You were you were so caught up
in denial. Or
in denial. You were so caught up in my box is better than your box.
Yeah.
My box has these games, your box has those. Meanwhile, Microsoft is like, man, this is gonna dry up by 2030. What can we do? What can we do to keep mobile games from eating our lunch? Activision. King. Let's get King. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And Alinzia puts it great in the chat. Says, I think honestly they were just working on evolving. That's 100%. Like,
yeah.
It's their company evolving into something so much bigger than what PlayStation is right now, and even in the foreseeable future will ever be, because Sony is very much like focusing on like just still the same old video games they've been doing forever, which is fine. Like, someone's got to do it. But Xbox is kind of like becoming so much more than just, we're not just making video games for a box, we're making games and experiences for every possible platform, you know.
That's where the money is.
Yeah.
The money is not. The money I don't think has ever been in hardware for games, for consoles. It's always been in the software, right? Because you buy a console one time, that's it.
You buy it one time, and even a lot of the consoles, like, they would take a cut on the console because they knew they could make it up through the online services and game sales and stuff like that. So it's like they've very rarely are they actually making money on those consoles, except for like when the like super slim PS3 comes out and it's literally like just $20 in plastic and they're still selling it for $150.
And it looks like it's $20 worth of plastic. I hate the super slim PS3 with a passion.
Oh man.
The one thing that people keep bringing up, and I want to touch on this before we get going on the next aspect, is people keep saying that, this is gonna hurt for competition, because if Xbox doesn't focus as much on hardware, then Sony's gonna just run all over this industry. You know, Xbox is still making games, right? Sony still has to compete with Xbox games.
Yeah.
Even if they're not only on Xbox hardware, they still get less money if you buy an Xbox game on a PS5. Sony does. So Xbox could publish their games on PS5 as long as they can see fit. And that's the competition right there. Sony has to say, no, we don't want you to buy Xbox games on PS5. Because in some weird way, you know, we get much less than what we would if you were to just buy a Sony game, or if you would have bought a Sony, what am I trying to say? Owned studio.
Right.
So that's the competition right there. Xbox could actually charge cheaper for their games if they wanted to compete with PlayStation. They have a lot of strategies that they could pull from in order to compete with Sony to make them stay competitive. It's not necessarily just hardware. And I don't think it ever really was hardware. So competition is just fine. It's alive and well. And a lot of people, I don't know.
It's just Xbox is taking the competition to new levels. That's all.
Right.
Like, it's just like, all right, well, you may be beating us on this console front. Because, I mean, and they've come out and admitted it. Like, hey, like, this generation, we've lost the console wars. Or console.
Straight up.
We've not console, you didn't say console wars, but we've lost this console generation. Like, PlayStation 5 is getting more sales or whatever than Xbox Series S and X. All right, we've lost. But, so Xbox is like, all right, let's take this to a new level then. Like,
let's pivot.
You're beating us there, but hey, we're beating you here.
Right.
You know?
They're going places Sony and Nintendo can't go.
Yeah. At least not anytime soon. It's going to take a long time to start that pivot. Xbox has been doing this pivot for years
Ever.
now.
10 years now.
It was, like I said, it was like closer to like Xbox One generation, like when they were really ramping stuff up towards this. So it's, Selkie says it right. Battle, but not the war. PlayStation has won the battle. Xbox might be working on one in that war, honestly.
So, people are getting their knickers in a twist and all this. It's not worth it. Xbox knows what they're doing. Honestly, I could care less if they come out next week and they're like, hey, everything is coming out on PS5 day and date, and all our big exclusives are coming out on PS5 and PC and wherever else. You
And
know what?
Guess what?
What?
Guess what? Even if those games all come out on PlayStation and Switch and every other console in between.
Guess who still makes money? Guess who still makes money?
Well, Xbox. But you know what? You can also still play those games on your Xbox. Like that's the other thing. People lose their minds over this like losing exclusivity. It's like, who cares? Because you know what? You can still play it on your Xbox.
You can still
it's not
play
going
it.
anywhere. It's not going anywhere. It's not like all of a sudden like, oh, we can't play it on my Xbox or something.
You know, Microsoft knows that they made the Xbox, right?
Yeah.
Right? You know that they made the Xbox, so they're gonna make sure that the thing that they made can play the games that they make. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, and PlayStation fanboys, the Sony ponies aren't any better. Like Selkie brings up a good point. He says, God of War on PC, how will I survive? Must uninstall. 100%. When PlayStation games started coming to PC, like in the last, 3 years now, it's kind of been a trend. Like, PlayStation fans are losing their minds. It's like, who cares? Who cares? You can still play the game, and you know what? 90% of the time, it runs better on your PlayStation. So far, a lot of the PC ports, not
garbage.
Not
garbage.
Great. Yeah, like Last of Us Part 1. Ooh, and that's a PS3 game. Like, granted, it was the remaster, I guess, but still, like that was rough. Like when that came out on PC. And what was it? There's a couple other games that have been
Horizon wasn't too great.
Not great at launch, and so it's like, who cares if they come out on other consoles? Because you know what? If you have your Xbox or you have your PlayStation or whatever, it's gonna run best there anyways. So you can continue to be a fan, continue to play his games, and probably get the best experience. So
that's the part, Garrett. That's what they always forget is you do know that the person who makes whatever game that you want, right? If Microsoft is making a game that's on PS5, they have to, develop for what is essentially the same, but it's still a foreign chipset. But they know Xbox hardware. They know how to squeeze the most out of Xbox hardware. You're 100% right. It's most likely going to perform the best there.
Yeah. So Indiana Jones might be coming out for PS5 and
I hope it does
whenever it's coming out. But you know what? It's probably going to look and play best on the Xbox. So
I hope Indiana Jones comes out on PS5.
Yeah.
I hope Starfield comes out on PS5.
Oh, man. And like Lindsay says in the chat, I just hope it makes for better crossplay too. Because you know what?
Absolutely.
Just being able to play with your friends wherever they're at. Crossplay is one of the greatest features ever. Like whenever a game has crossplay, it's so incredible. Because like I'm on my PlayStation and one buddy's on a computer and the other buddy's on his Xbox and someone else is playing Game Pass, like the Xbox streaming service or whatever.
Yeah.
Playing games
when we played Payday.
Yeah, exactly. Like we were playing on 4 different systems to play Payday together, and it was great. It was amazing. So just enjoy games, be happy, stop fighting. There's nothing to fight about. It doesn't make you any more money unless you're Mr. Xbox or Mr. PlayStation. You're not making. Or
you
money.
Got a stupid amount of stock in them.
Doesn't affect you. So
which even honestly, right now, I'd probably be putting my stock in Xbox, but. Again, that's playing the long game. Yep.
Everyone just
double standard rolling back on that. I don't think that we see, even though there's a rumor that about 2025 or 2026, I think I hear that they're talking about coming to PC. I don't think we see Nintendo doing this anytime soon.
No, as far as like bringing their games to other consoles,
yeah,
not in a million years. I don't think they ever will.
No, and if we want to put on our business owner capitalist hat real quick, I sold 140 million consoles.
They don't need to.
I sold billions of units of software just on my platform.
There's been wasn't the number like there's more copies of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe than there are even like consoles that have been sold or something like that. Like I felt like there was one game that had at least, and again this might have been back in like 2017 2018 when the Switch launched, but I feel like I remember reading a number where it's like there's been more copies
Zelda.
of this
it was Zelda.
There's more copies of Breath of the Wild than there even were consoles in the wild. Like they're fine.
They're good. They're not
selling
doing
plenty
it.
of software on their own. Not only are their consoles selling like incredibly well, but then also their games are selling even better than there are consoles that even exist for the game. So it's like they don't need to.
They would have to sell like 10 consoles of whatever this new unit is, or whatever this new Switch is, to like even consider.
Yeah. Right. It'd have to be a complete flop. And then they're like, what are we going to do? We have all these games in development. I guess we're going to put them on PlayStation and Xbox. But yeah, there's no need to. There's no need to. They're making their money and they're happy. And you know, and people just eat it up because it's Nintendo.
Would it be cool if they put their stuff, if everybody put their stuff everywhere? Absolutely.
Amazing.
Is it going to happen with the Nintendo at least? No. Everybody else, you'll probably get it everywhere. But they're in their own lane. They're doing their own thing. I can't, in good business conscience, tell them to do that. Because if I was raking in the money they were raking in, I wouldn't be doing it either. Because it's still working for me. That's what they're doing. They're looking at all this going on the weekend. They're looking at all these tweets and be like, well, this sucks for y'all. I'm good over here. Yeah, it's fine for me. We're good.
That ain't broke, you know.
It ain't broke over here.
Let's leave it. Let's leave it. Oh, man. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to this next news story. Where's this? There it is. This next news story comes to us from Ash Parrish over at The Verge. All the biggest news and trailers from PlayStation's 2024 State of Play. So this is less of a news story, more just like a recap. I don't necessarily have anything I need to read here as far as an article, but they had a decent recap over here. So as we mentioned earlier in this episode, Sony announced at the State of Play that there's going to be a specific, kind of a separate, actually, as of we're recording this on Monday, on Tuesday, tomorrow, there's going to be a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth State of Play, essentially, or direct. It's just focused directly on that. Which, if they're doing a whole, if they couldn't take the 10 minutes to talk about it at the State of Play, obviously there's some sort of demo probably coming. There's some reason they're gonna have to elaborate either more and show some stuff off. So get hyped for that. Get hyped for that. So, and if that's the case, that's probably what I'm going to be streaming Thursday night. I'm really excited to possibly jump into that.
I don't want to drop $400 for one game, Garrett. I don't want to do it. I gotta figure something out.
Oh man, he's borrow a PS5 from a buddy or something, or go play over this. Come down here, come hang out with me, and we can play it together.
I'll take a week off work.
Just take a week off work. Come and chill in my office. I can be here working on my computer, and you can just be playing the PlayStation at the other desk.
Especially because that game is gonna eat my 2070 for breakfast.
Well, if and when it comes out for PC, like how long did it take before? It took a couple years before it came out for PC. So you never know. Square Enix. Stop. Don't even say they're very good at coding, because they're not. Because where is Kingdom Hearts on Switch? Where are those PS2 games on Switch at? Square Enix. Remake. I didn't forget specs. What was remake minimum PC specs? So I mean, they managed to. Final Fantasy VII Remake was playable on a GTX 1080. That's an old card. And a Core i7 3770. So if they can get Remake to run on that, I think your computer could probably run. But isn't Rebirth on Unreal 5? So already that's taxing, right? I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I don't know. And it'll run, but will it run well? I mean, that was the recommended specs for Remake. So if I assume recommended specs could be similar or even just slightly higher, which is still probably within the spec of your PC, but I digress. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, we have no idea what the specs are going to be for PC because we won't know for another year or two probably, but either way, I can't wait to see. I'm gonna have to buy that console again. Is there a place you can like rent it from? Does the places rent consoles anymore? You just rent a PS5 for a week? No, that's a good question. Like I know GameFly does games. Can you rent consoles from GameFly? Keep talking. I gotta Google the Goog. Find a local place that's just like, hey, can I borrow that for like
rent
$50, for the week or something. The next, so this it seems like this article is in order. Okay, it's backwards. I don't know why this article is backwards.
So hold on.
Here we go. So the first thing they showed off is Helldivers 2, which apparently is out now, or at least reviews are out. I saw reviews are out for that game. Helldivers 2. It looks cool, but not necessarily my cup of tea. I don't know. Does Helldivers do anything for you? Are you excited for that? Have you seen any of the I guess I should say, have you seen any of the reviews that come out for it? I know they came out.
I haven't seen any of the reviews yet. I've been kind of quiet on it. I really liked the first one, played it a lot on Vita. I don't know how I feel about the over-the-shoulder switch because I'm used to it being top-down. It just makes it feel like every other kind of shooter nowadays.
Okay. Yeah, that was what was unique about it, having like the isometric top-down view, and now it's just like, now it's just a third-person game. So, or is it first-person even? I don't remember. I think it's one of those. But Dave the Diver is coming to PlayStation this April, and it's coming with a free Godzilla-themed update. So it's getting Godzilla DLC on Dave the Diver, which sounds amazing. I love the trailer for this because it's literally just Is it -1 Godzilla? I mean, it just kind of looks like Godzilla. I don't know. They all look the same to me. Maybe it is. It played the music from like in the trailer. I don't know if you saw the trailer during the state of play.
I just need to know if I need to swim away when those fins start locking in, when the spines start locking in.
You definitely do. I think that. So they even show that in the trailer. Like all of a sudden, like the scales start popping up.
I'm out of here. I'm out of here. It's not worth it.
It's a great trailer because it has the music too, like the dun 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 dun, like the classic like music. So good. Sonic X Shadow Generations.
My brother flipped out when I told him this was coming.
Really?
Enormous Sonic fan.
Is this a new game or like a remake?
It's a little bit of both. Okay, it's essentially it's like it's Sonic Generations. It's a remaster of that, but they're adding on. You know how they did Nintendo did Mario 3D World, but they added on Bowser's Fury.
Bowser's Fury. Yep.
It's kind of like that level of expansion on it. Okay. Expansion, that's the word. Thank you.
I see.
Brain?
I see. Okay. Yeah, so fall 2024, that is coming out. So look forward to that. So yeah, it says an all-new story mode starring Shadow with new levels and bosses. Judas, we got a longer kind of gameplay trailer.
This looks awesome. Judas looks Did you watch it?
Yeah, so I watched the state of play while it was going live, and dude, like it looks just like BioShock in the best way possible. I'm like,
I was going to say, I'm not complaining.
Like gun in one hand, powers in the other hand. Even the world that it takes place in, there's so many. I'm like, oh, this feels like Rapture. This feels so much like Rapture again.
And like, it's the same creator behind it. I'm not complaining.
Ken Levine's back with Ghost Story Studio. This has revealed a first project narrative shooter called Judas. It says revealed, but this isn't the first time we've heard of it. Which I don't. Did you? IGN posted a tweet saying the same thing. First reveal of Ken Levine's new game Judas. And in the comment, I think it's
first reveal of gameplay though, isn't it?
That
might be what they mean.
That might be true, but that's not what they said. Anyways, the very first comment on Twitter and had a bunch of likes, like it was getting ratioed, was Jeff Keighley in the comments like, actually the first reveal was Game Awards 2022. and
get him, Jeff.
Like, everyone's just like, oh yeah, get him.
Get him, Jeff.
So good. But yeah, new trailer that gave a better sense of what the sci-fi story is all about. This article has weird like editorial stuff going on in here, but aboard the Mayflower spacefaring city whose citizens are trained to tear each other apart for even the most minor infractions, and where machines control every aspect of business, art, and government, you as Judas are the driver of every event in a mysterious story with a new cast of characters to get to know and to change in a world where every decision you make affects how the story is told. So it's almost like I wonder if they have like multiple endings even too. Like it's almost like you're kind of choose your own adventure kind of thing. I don't know.
I could be. Very well could be.
We'll have to wait and see. We got a VR spin-off of Metro Exodus on
Go to
PSVR
bed.
2.
Go to sleep.
PSVR 2. So there you go, Adrian. You said nothing was coming to PSVR. You were getting the new. I get it. All right. You can wake up now. Because we got a deeper look at Team Ninja's latest, which we already knew that Rise of Ronin was coming out on PS5 March 22nd, but here's another look at an action RPG with a heavy focus on actual gameplay at its core.
Actually looks pretty neat. Don't know if I buy it day one, but I definitely would play it.
My problem is it looks...
Ghost of Tsushima?
It's like Ghost of Tsushima was made by Ubisoft.
That's very accurate, actually.
Like even some of like the mechanics, and unfortunately even some of like the what was it, like the animations of certain things. I'm like, oh, this is like there was, again, it was just a trailer. It's not final product, but there's some unfinished bits in the trailer, and I was like, ooh, that was a little janky, like the way like they like lasso roped the top of that spire, and all of a sudden they're just like, I'm here, and I don't know. Is it? But then
is it like, coming out this year, or is it a ways out
March 22nd? And I'm like a month and a half. Like it's pretty soon, so it should be pretty polished. But who knows when this trailer is from?
That's fair too. But they could have fixed that by now.
It looks like it could be fun, but that's my takeaway. I was like, oh, it's like Ghost of Tsushima made by Ubisoft. I kind of wish it was just Ghost of Tsushima 2, because I didn't finish that game, but I played a lot of it, and that game is...
You should go back. Fun. That game is fantastic.
So much fun. Yeah, I know. I've only heard amazing things about it, and I mean, again, I played a lot of it and enjoyed what I played, so I would love to finish that bad boy, but there's too many games I got to finish. That's the thing.
So awesome. What a great problem.
Until Dawn is getting a remake.
For what? For what?
It's a new version so you can play it on PC and PS5.
Why not just can't you download the PS4 version to play on PS5 already?
Yeah.
What was the point? Why don't you just tell people to do that?
Why would they make Last of Us Part 2 remake? Exactly. The same reason they're making this remake, for no reason other than just money.
Well, to promote, aren't they making a movie for Until Dawn? Is that why?
I feel like I've heard that. I don't know if I've ever seen a for sure confirmation of that, but I think that is a thing I've heard. But here's the biggest news. Here's what everyone actually cares about. Death Stranding 2's new trailer is delightfully disturbing.
Dude.
Andrew Webster. It was a 9 minute in 40 something seconds, almost 10 minutes long.
It flew.
Madness.
It flew.
Absolute madness. So the trailer begins and I'm like, yes, you gotta be kidding me. No way. I can't believe it. This is so awesome. And very quickly I'm like, wow, this game is off its rocker already. So rewind a little bit. When first Death Stranding came out, a lot of us were like, wow, this game is crazy. Like, what in the world is this even about? Like, what is Kojima smoking over there, right? But then once the game came out, it was like, oh, okay. A lot of the pieces were able to be put together, and this makes a lot more sense. It's still wild, but it makes a lot more sense, and I can justify it, and I can really connect with this emotionally even. Like, I love that game. Like, it's like, I mean, you guys know how much I love Death Stranding. The story in that game is incredible and just heart-wrenching and so intense.
I'm right there with you, brother.
I know. I'm speaking to the listeners.
Collector's edition.
I'm speaking to the listeners who still hate Death Stranding with a passion for some reason.
That game is amazing. I have it with me all the time now. That's how good it is.
Yeah, it's out on iOS now. So
yes,
playing on your phone. But this trailer, every step of the way, I was like, oh, Kojima, you might have gone too far with this one. You might have gone too far. Like, I'm watching it. I'm like, I don't know how you're going to tie any of these things together.
When did it hit you? When the baby spat out a micro spaceship?
When the baby spits out a giant spaceship. When there's a cat that's covered in tar with bat wings, like gargoyle wings. When there's for no reason, like Sam and Fragile are just blue Smurfs just walking
out
around
of nowhere. Did it hit you when Fragile's gloves Or I'm sorry, when her mask just does it for her, when just goes over her face like somebody's holding her face.
She has two hands around her neck that cover her face like a mask and help her hold her cigarette when she smokes.
Honestly, that was a pretty cool way to light it. I'm not gonna lie to you. That quick like that and it lit.
Or when Higgs is, I guess spoilers of the first Death Stranding, Higgs is back from the dead in a body that looks
way different.
Looks eerily like Amelie's, and he's apparently a rock star. He's a rock star. His weapon is literally an electric guitar that shoots lasers when he plays it. And it has a power axe built into it. He's literally they call guitars like it's my axe. This is literally an axe. This is his axe. He can play guitar to shoot lasers, or he spins it around the other way and he fights a baby ninja. Did you notice that giant ninja like samurai?
It's a baby. Yeah, it was laughing like a baby.
It sounded like BB. It's like a BB inside of a giant ninja thing. Yeah. I'm like, what is?
And I'm sure that'll be explained as well.
What is going on? So I feel like I could just keep saying.
You know, Kojima was like, he was walking around his office when he was writing this. He was like, "What if I make the guitar electric? What? Wait. What if the guitar shoots electricity? It's an electric guitar, right? Right?
Exactly. Oh man, I know it sounds like we're making all these things up, but you just go watch the trailer. It's the best 10 minutes of your life. It'll be the best.
It's
10 minutes of
awesome.
your life.
It's an awesome trailer.
Oh man,
it's a short film in itself, honestly.
Saki's brings up a good point. What's the deal with the puppet anyways? There's a little puppet dude
We
too.
don't know. That's the weirdest part. We don't, and it's half frame rate.
Yeah, it's like animated in like a really cool stop motion-y, kind of like
it's
Into
on
the
like
Spider-Verse,
threes.
Threes. And it like hisses at Higgs at one point, like gets all pissed off and like hisses at him like a cat. Who is this guy? I don't know. No idea.
He'll be your best friend by the end of the game. Mark my words. Mark my words.
Sulky says Kojima's on meth. Changed my mind. I love him, but he's on meth. And Lindsay says the entire team behind the game was probably on meth. It's like every morning.
Look at the results we get, though.
You come
just
into
saying,
work,
there might be something to it.
And they just like hand you like, all right, here you go. Here's your dose for the day. Go to work. Everyone's like,
Herman Hulse comes in.
I got an idea. Have you now?
We should not do this because we could probably get jammed up. Herman Hulse would be like, "Hey, this is actually slander. This is actually libel, allegedly."
Allegedly,
that's our theory. That's what happens. Okay.
Or Kojima is just.
We're only theorizing that Herman Hulse supplies methamphetamines to the entire Kojima production staff in order to create their games. Because how else would they be that out there?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Could be acid.
And one more thing from Kojima, as if Death Stranding 2 and OD weren't enough, Kojima confirmed that he's working on a new IP with Sony, described as next generation action espionage game. So in this article says, so Metal Gear Solid. Basically, from the description, it's like, okay, this is Metal Gear Solid. Oh, well, he uses the word action espionage, which is different than the original, because the first Metal Gear was tactical espionage. So this is probably going to be more like Metal Gear Solid 5, but he's making a stealth game specifically for PS5. But he's not going to start. They're not starting any work on it until Death Stranding 2 is complete and after it launches in 2025. We did get a date, or at least a year.
So it's a PS6 game.
It's probably a PS6 game. So yeah, absolutely bonkers news there. And I loved how it ended too, where he like just randomly like looks to the side, points at a drone,
and the drone comes out, and they're at Columbia Studios.
Oh man, so good. Basically just showing like Kojima
muscle. He's him.
We gave you a blank check. Do whatever you want. Make all the movies and games you want. Like PlayStation is giving you a blank check.
Kojima and PlayStation, I'm playing chess on this one, dude. You know what Death Stranding is? Death Stranding is a game where it's like when they play music with no words on the radio. You know what I mean? Like the cool people who know about how good this stuff is.
Okay.
They'll get there. They'll see it. They'll hear it.
See it.
It's for them. You know?
I
Most people won't understand it, but the cool kids, they'll get it. The cool people will find it.
They get it.
You know?
They get it. Man. So, I mean, I was thinking the other day, too, like, Kojima Productions has a lot on their plate right now. Like, they got Death Stranding 2 they're working on. They got OD they're working on. They're eventually going to have this new PlayStation game they're working on. They've already announced they're making a movie or a TV show. We don't really know for sure, but some sort of, like, film adaptation of Death Stranding that's an original story, not connected to the game. Like, I don't know.
I think it's going to be like Quantum Break.
I'm excited. I'm really excited about all the projects they have coming out of there. It's going to be wild. And even this new one too, which is codenamed Fizzant, which is a wild name. The new action espionage game is also supposed to have like film/TV like connections to it as well. So
you know it has something to do with the other realm, right? Fizzant. Come on, isn't physical?
Sure.
Come on, it's Kojima.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're probably right. And then the last, actually, this happened before, but it's just the last thing on this article. Konami just stealth launched a Silent Hill game. Silent Hill, the short message launched.
Yeah, I heard nobody's checking for this one.
During the state of play. The trailer made it look incredible. I have not heard great things about it, though. I'm curious to try it out. Like, it is a free demo. It's a free game. It's not a demo. It's technically a game. It's a short game, but...
yeah, if they put it out for free, that kind of tells me what I need to know.
Yeah, it says it's a short experimental free-to-play game meant to introduce newcomers to the joys of the idyllic foggy city. So it's just a way to kind of like wet people's whistle for Silent Hill, since
it's a demo.
It's a playable teaser to basically get people in the mood. Because over the next, what that was like last year, they announced like 4 new projects for Silent Hill between remakes and other new projects. So I think that's the whole gist of this, is like, hey, there's a bunch of new stuff coming out. Play this game to kind of get an idea of what Silent Hill's like. That was one thing I noticed too in the trailer for this game, Silent Hill: A Short Message. Boy, there's so many things that I was immediately like, that's from PT. That's from PT. That bathroom, that sink, that almost looks like exactly like the one from PT.
Hey,
oh,
if
that
you
hallway,
still got the assets.
That weird like ghost thing or creature thing coming down the hallway and like the jerky, like crazy, like that's from PT. Like they're completely lifting all this stuff from PT, and I'm like, I guess if you have the assets, might as well use them. Too bad they
Why not?
botched them, but wild, absolutely wild. So yeah, that was the PlayStation State of Play. It was okay. It was a good time. It was a good time. If anything, just for Death Stranding 2 for me. All the Kojima news, I'm like, you know what? Worth it. This was very much worth it.
Had to change your pants after.
I was pretty stoked, to be honest. Yeah, I guess we can move on unless you have any other thoughts on State of Play. Move on to this last news story.
Surprisingly devoid of first-party titles still.
Yes.
Don't know where those are. Starting to get a little worried.
That is
we don't have anything on the slate for this year as far as PlayStation Studios games. We have some second-party stuff and I think that's described as whether either Sony owns the studio and not the IP, or they own the IP and not the studio developing it, which I think that's how they qualify second party, which is Helldivers and Stellar Blade. Right. So we don't have anything from them directly on the slate for 2024, and that's very concerning. Granted, it's only February. We could get another State of Play in, April or whatever, and they may have something else coming out, but it's looking spooky so far. So yeah, hopefully that turns around.
Not much going on. You would think we would be hearing more about some of those PlayStation studios since it's been a while, but nah, we're not getting anything. So I don't know. Give me a reason to have this box over here that I didn't even.
Give me a reason to get one.
That I
besides
didn't even,
a third-party Final Fantasy game.
I can't remember if I talked about this on the show or not, but last year, you know how PlayStation, well, everyone, but PlayStation specifically, they always do like the wrap at the end of the year. Oh, here's your stats for the year, blah, blah, blah. In order to do it, you have to have a certain amount of hours to even build up enough stats or whatever. I didn't, and after doing some research, I found out that the minimum of hours you need to have played on your PlayStation 5 is 10 hours. I went to go get my Wrapped, and they're like, sorry, you don't have enough hours. You have not banked enough hours on the PlayStation 5 to get a PlayStation Wrapped. So literally, in all of 2023, I put less than 10 hours on my PS5.
You honestly might want to take those covers off and blow some dust out of there.
Absolutely wild. I mean, but last year, back in March, that's when we got our Steam Decks, and I've just been off to the races with
Never
my
look back.
Steam Deck. My Steam Deck and my Switch became my two main machines. Like, I didn't need that because even last year, like, there wasn't really, other than Final Fantasy 16,
which
right?
also isn't a Sony first party game.
Yeah, which and I purchased it with every intention to play, and then never did because it went on sale at one point. I got it for cheap. I got it for like $30 or whatever. And then Spider-Man 2 came out the end of the year. But
okay, that was one, and I'll give you that one. I
just had a million other games to play, so I haven't even touched that one either. So it's like, even last year was like a lot of game last year. Awfully empty. So I mean, I could be forgetting more, but
Alicia says, "Dang, I'm on my PS5 all the time," and I'm not saying that there's nothing to play. I'm saying that Sony is not putting out games themselves that make it a compelling case for you to want to buy a PS5. Yeah. Right? If you're buying a PS5 for third party and all your friends play there, absolutely it makes sense. But if Sony themselves is not making a convincing case with their software lineup for you to buy a PS5, like say you're the kind of person who only plays single player story games, right? Or you're the only kind of person who plays games by yourself.
Which is what I do, yeah.
Right. What came out from Sony so far? In the past couple years, we got Spider-Man.
God of War Ragnarok.
Which is also on PS4.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not really a compelling...
Yeah. And I mean, even just for specifically my gameplay style in the current stage of life I'm in is much more like I want to be able to play from my couch. I shouldn't say that, not my couch. I want to be able, because I don't have a couch. I don't have a couch. I want to be able to play like sitting in bed in my room or whatever. Like my living situation, I don't have a living room that I can go to and sit and play a PlayStation. Mm-hmm. Growing up, and for most of my life, even my adult life, that was the case. The last 3 years, though, our living situation is we live in a house with other family members, and so it's like we don't have a normal living room. Like my PlayStation is like down here in my office, and so at night it's like I can't just sit down on the couch next to my wife and kick it and play video games. It's like, no, I have to like leave the house to play my PlayStation because we don't have a TV in the living room up in the house.
Honestly, and so, a Portal sounds like a perfect device for you. I'm surprised you didn't get one.
Because I can do remote play for free on my Steam Deck.
That's fair too.
Why would I pay $300 when I can do it for free on my Steam Deck?
That's fair. That is fair.
So, but again, it's like, but Steam games are just so easily accessible and cheaper. Because on a Steam sale, I can buy a game off Steam for $5 to $10, like 6 months after a game comes out, or $70 on my PS5. So I'm like, I'll go with the Steam version, you know? And I can stream it from my PC, you know, onto my Steam Deck. So I leave my PC on my office. I can be sitting up in bed and streaming it, no problem, all over the local area network. So that's so it's a very specific use case, but that's why my PlayStation has not gotten a lot of love. When God of War Ragnarok came out, I was like, I gotta play it, and I did. But last year is like nothing big enough came out that's in my wheelhouse to even warrant more than 10 hours of gameplay, which is wild because Final
Fantasy 16 was it for me. I just didn't have no money. So
yeah.
But that was also like Square Enix. That wasn't them.
Exactly. Not a PlayStation Studios game. But yeah, I don't know. It's wild because I am, by definition, typically, people be like, oh, you're a Sony pony. I've always been a PlayStation boy. I grew up, my dad, he's made me play PlayStation. I've always I have PlayStation in my blood. There's PlayStation in my DNA. So it's wild to me to think like I didn't touch it for more than 10 hours last year. Woof.
Your little platelets are in the shape of the PlayStation buttons.
Exactly. Little sacred symbols was floating around in my blood. All right. Well, we should probably get on with this last news story here. We're going awfully long this episode. This last news story, it's going to be a quick one because I don't think there's much substance to this, to be honest, but it's worth touching on, you know? Francisco de Mayo, I'm going to say, over at WCCFtech.com. New PlayStation handheld powered by MD is in early development. A new PlayStation handheld powered by MD is in early development and will apparently be compatible with both PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 titles. As reported by Moore's Law is Dead in a new YouTube video, the Japanese company is apparently planning to re-enter the handheld market with new hardware. The console will be powered by a custom AMD APU and is currently in the high-level design phase, meaning that it is at least 2 years away and hasn't been greenlit for release yet. The specs for this new PlayStation handheld have yet to be defined, but Moore's Law is Dead speculates it's likely to utilize 18 CUs to maintain compatibility with all PS4 titles available on the PlayStation Store. In addition, the console will be compatible with PS5 titles as well, although developers would have to patch them to make them run properly on the console. As such, it's plausible the new system's GPU could run at 1.8 GHz or slower due to the PS5's variable clock speeds. While the new PS5 handheld could just be 2 years away, there's a chance it will take more time to see its release if it is greenlit, as it has been suggested to Moore's Law is Dead that the console will be part of the PlayStation 6 family, releasing as a handheld alternative meant for the Japanese market. So a lot of people were talking about this, and this is the reason I just wanted to bring it up, because there's a lot of people talking about it, even like bigger podcasts, bigger news sites. Like, for some reason,
this crush my dreams.
This hit a lot of people, but here's the deal. This is a humongous, just ginormous grain of salt that we got to take this with. Just do it. Just rip
the Band-Aid off. Come on.
There is absolutely no substance to this article, and it's surprising me that so many people are running with this and talking about it. This is 100% rumor.
I
think that I don't know for sure that it's rumor because I don't work at PlayStation. This is 100% speculation. This is 100% just shooting just hot air out into the universe, hoping those words that they uttered happen to come true in 2+ years. Saying that PlayStation in the next 2 or more years is making a handheld console is the same as saying you're going to take a breath within the next 5 seconds, or 30 seconds, like, of course, everyone breathes. Like, it's going to happen. Saying 2 or more years, like, of course, it could be 15 years from now. You're going to be like, I was right. I told you, 2 or more years. Like,
they left it open just in case.
It's such a wild thing to talk about. So, I don't know. On one hand, I hope it's true, and I hope we get something because I love the PSP. And I didn't ever have a chance to get the Vita, but PSP I loved it. Fantastic handheld console. So, this would be well received by many, especially with the launch of the PlayStation Portal this year. Was that this year or last year? End of last year.
Last year.
People, there's a large
somehow they bought them.
There's a large amount of people who bought them and enjoyed them for what it was. For that specific use case, it was useful for those people. But in general, most people were like, I just want an actual handheld console. Give me an actual console that can play games.
Give me a real PSP. What are we doing?
Give me some real hardware here, right? And so PlayStation would be crazy to not revisit that in the future. But again, this article is like this wild speculation that leaves it so open-ended. Of course they're going to be right, because Sony would be crazy to not do another portable handheld at some point in the future.
Clearly, the writing was on. Look, I say this all the time. I'm going to say it again because it's finally relevant and I don't have to walk my way into it. PSVR 2 was a mistake.
Yes.
They should not have gone forward with PSVR 2 development. All that R&D should have gone into a handheld console. They should have seen as soon as 2018, when Switch was doing gangbusters, they should have been like, oh, this is something. Let's start our own R&D into this. Now, they waited too long, They got Steam to compete with now. They got Nintendo to compete with now. Or Valve, sorry. They got Valve and Nintendo to compete with. I don't really count the ROG Ally because I don't think it's really a big player. I feel like that's really niche, but it's there. But now you got two major titans that you have to compete with instead of just the one.
Yeah.
When you could have been out before the Steam Deck and had people's mind share and heart share already.
Yeah.
You goofed.
Yeah. Don't know what they're thinking, but I don't know. I'm sure they will come back soon enough with something new, but don't, like I said,
for the love of God,
take this with a grain of salt, because this is a 100% just speculation. Like, Moore's Law is dead is just a rant. Like, how big is this YouTube channel? Like, are they?
I don't know. Just call it PSP 2, please. I don't care if 2 is smaller than 3, is smaller than 4, is smaller than whatever. If you call it PSP 2, people will instantly know what it is. Okay? Everybody remembers PSP. Everybody.
Yep.
Just call it PSP 2 or call it PSP.
Yeah, just call it PlayStation Portable. Like,
that's it.
It's been long enough. It's not going to confuse people. Like,
right.
Like, they're not going to like go to GameStop and be like, "Can I buy the PSP?" And the GameStop employee's going to be like, "Here you go," and give them one from like 2000
or give them a Portal. No. Yeah. That's why they don't call it PSP, because it's not PSP. Sony never calls PlayStation Portal PSP. It's not one. So they still have room to call something a PSP.
Exactly.
Just don't mess it up this time, man. I always die on that hill. If they called Vita PSP 2, I really think we'd be living in we would have lived a different decade.
Man. So, yeah, with that, sorry to burst your bubble, but.
All right. It's okay. It'll happen, and I'll be here.
You'll be here. We will be here. We will talk about it. We will be championing it for sure. As long as they just don't make another PlayStation Portal, please.
Please
don't do that. All right. That is it for the Nerdy Nudes. Now it is time for our Patreon ad.
Run it.
This is a part of the show where I tell you to go over to patreon.com/supergamerboys and support us over there, starting at just $1 a month. That's right, $1. You can get episodes early and ad-free, such as this show, and our Patreon exclusive show, Super Later Boys. A new episode will be coming out in a couple weeks here, featuring myself and Adrian and guest Connor from Call Me By Your Game, the Super NPC Radio folks over there, and Eddie, one of our former Patreon producers, still a Patreon producer in my heart, and we have a good time talking about some classic PC games from our childhood. So sign up for that. That'll be a fun one. $5 a month. If you support us on Patreon, $5 a month, you can get all those previous that previous perk, plus show notes to the show each and every week. You know what we're going to be talking about on the main show here. Leave your own questions, comments, concerns, thoughts right on the dock. That's right. You see a news story we're going to be talking about, you have your own thoughts, go ahead and leave the thoughts right there on the dock. If you have questions, or if you want to answer the questions in the mailbag, go ahead and leave your answers. If you want to talk about what you've been playing and a game you've been playing and what you think about it, go ahead and leave it on there. Basically, if you want your voice heard, and maybe you're one of those folks who can't join us on a Monday night when we live stream, because when we're live streaming, sometimes we interact with the chat, you can leave it right on the dock and make sure that we will read it here on the air for you. Then the next tier, $10 a month, you can get all those previous perks and a shout out at the top of each and every episode. Just scream it from the rooftops that you love and support our stuff. And we appreciate it very, very much. And then there's the top dog tier. You get those previous perks and you can pitch us a segment for the show. Now, a lot of times this has worked out in our favor. Adrian used to be his Patreon producer before he was a host. And we got Super Indie Boys out of it. Fantastic segment, which then turned into a fantastic show for a few episodes over on our YouTube that you can find. But sometimes it backfires. Sometimes you get stuff like Tall Tales with JJ, where they have to get canceled very quickly. But you know what? It's all in good fun. That's why we love it, because we get the pitches and we go with it. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But you know what? We give it the old college try. So if you have a fun segment, or like back in the day, we used to do losing reviews. Matt Liu, a Patreon producer way back in the day, he had us watch bad movies and then review them on the show. So if you want to make us suffer, or you have something fun that you want to bring to the table, support us at the $15 a month level. You can be a Patreon producer and help make that happen. Pitch that segment. We'll give it the old college try. No guarantee it's going to become a regular recurring segment, but we will at least give it a shot. And we appreciate you for it, for just helping making things more fun around here. More fun than they already are. So go support us, please. Patreon.com/SuperGamerBoys. You can also support us over at sgbstore.com, where you can buy our merch. Right now, the new hit is the dad hat. You can get that over there with it's a black dad hat with our logo on the front, white logo. I love it. It's my new kind of go-to, my day-to-day hat. So think about picking that up. Looks great, feels great, nice and comfy. We also got hoodies, sweatshirts, t-shirts, stickers, whatever you're looking for over there. Coffee mugs. I also use my coffee mug almost every day. So support us over there, sgbstore.com. Get your sweet merch. And if you do pick something up, take a picture, post on social media, tag us in it. I'd love to see it when people use our merch, because I don't know, it's just exciting to know that our stuff is out in the world being used by people. So please do that. And then last but not least, if you're watching over here at twitch.tv/thesupergamerboys, think about shooting us a free subscription. Cost you $0. We get $5 out of it. If you have Amazon Prime, you can link that to your Twitch account and get a free Prime gaming sub each and every month. Costs you $0. We get $5 when you use it on our channel. Not only do you get to watch us ad-free, but you support the channel and you get emotes to use all across the Twitchverse. So please, if you would so kindly drop that sub. We'd very much appreciate it. To all the folks who do. Wow. Selkie's just gifted 5 subs. Just nothing to do with the Prime Gaming sub. He paid real actual money. Thank you so much, Selkies, for doing that. That is amazing. So thank you. And if you didn't get one of those gifted subs, think about dropping that Prime Gaming sub. All right. Anyways, let's get back to the show. I'm flabbergasted. I appreciate it. All right. Back to the real show. All right, we're back from the Patreon at Adrian. And I need to ask you this very important question. I know you've been dying for me to ask this, because you've just been on the edge of your seat all night waiting to talk about
oh boy.
So this particular topic, and that is Whatcha Playing.
My good man, I am lost in the PAL world sauce.
Oh no. Really?
I have I wouldn't be surprised if I have 30 hours in that game already.
Oh my God.
I don't know what it is. I just love exploring big old worlds like that, when they actually make it fun to explore and not necessarily go to the next big tower and activate the beacon, like Far Cry's and whatnot. At least give me something to do on the ground while I'm on the way there, which is what they do, which is what Breath of the Wild did. It's not necessarily about opening up the map. It's about just finding stuff and finding pals. And my base is going absolutely nuts.
Okay. So
I'm rich in I keep wanting to say ingredients, materials. What?
Sorry, I was just the last time we talked, I felt like you had mentioned that you were kind of neglecting the base a little bit, but so you've been kind of jumping into that now, kind of making it more.
Well, I had so much stuff like stored up for the base that I had to do. And then when I realized that you can really work the base in your favor to just generate supplies and materials while you're gone, I was like, oh yes, I absolutely need to invest in this.
Yeah, I mean, you can just put all your pals on working duty and they just go to town and it's all self-sustaining. They're collecting rocks, they're cutting down trees, they're doing everything.
Dude, I put a couple of the food baskets. I put a couple of hot springs for them to chill out. Everybody's got a bed.
So you're being nice to them.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I just care. That's not the direction I've seen most people go. I feel like anytime I go online, it's just people just treating their pals so horribly and just like they're out there cracking the whip.
They're
like,
doing that for the memes. They're doing that for the memes. I even rotate my pals out when they get tired.
Okay.
So everybody works and everybody eats.
That's great.
And in me and in my elite crew, we go out and we forage and we bring back the ingredients needed to upgrade the base. Everybody's got a job.
That's awesome. That's so good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I also, I mean, you know, I played with you a couple times on stream and I enjoyed my time, but as I said then too, like that type of game isn't necessarily like my type of game. Like I enjoy it for a time and then I'm like, all right, what's the next thing? And for me, like the hook wasn't strong enough to keep me on long term. I haven't touched it since. I mean, if it's one of those games that like if anyone is ever like, hey, we're playing Pale World, do you want to play? I'd be like 100% yes, I'm in. But I'm not going out of my way to play it because it really is just like, yeah, I don't know. Is this not my type of game? I'll just leave it at that because I don't need to like bash it or anything. Because again, I love it. I actually really enjoyed my time, but it's not the same kind of game where I'm like,
you misunderstand.
Spending all my
I absolutely
hours,
know it's janky. It's 100%. It's a jank fest. Collision is not good at all. It's like a 30% chance that you won't latch onto a wall to climb.
I need to clip out the part when we were playing that one night and remember I fell through the ground and just like
despair
in my voice. Unfortunately you can't see it because I think we were streaming from your point of view that night because you were in charge that night of the streaming, but just my voice comms and just the Adrian.
And I'm like, Garrett, you're just gonna have to do it. You're just gonna have to do it. I don't know what else to tell you.
That was so sad. What a wild night that was. Yeah, that game's jank. Lindsay wants to know two things. I don't know. Everyone, this is like the second time we've been asked this. Have you caught humans? And
no.
And then what's your favorite pale? I like Depresso. Depresso's very good.
That's Garrett's favorite too.
I love Depresso. Because isn't it's in like the description like something like it's his ability. He has like some ability where he chugs energy drinks and like I don't know, it makes him.
Isn't that his entry or his dex entry or something like that?
Something. I love that. But what's your favorite pal?
I can't name them off the top of my head because I'm not as familiar like I was. You know how when Pokemon came out,
how closely does it look like what's the Pokemon it looks most closely like?
The Pokemon this one looks the most close to would be oh god, she's from X and Y. It's the Fire Starter, but the full evolution of it. It's like a wizard and a Fire Fox Pokemon.
Fennekin?
And I know everybody's going, oh, it's this. I know, dog, there are 1,000 Pokemon now, okay?
Fennekin?
If it's the 150, I can name it like no problem. Because my brain was a kid sponge brain when that happened.
Uh-huh.
But now I'm an old man, so I don't know all the pals like that. I'll get it in time, of course, with repetition, but you know, it was brand new. We were all 7 and 8. And everything was just absorbing.
So, yeah, Fennekin's the name of the Pokemon.
Fennekin, thank you.
What is the pale called? Foxspark?
No, there's another one where it's literally a Fire Fox Wizard.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I just found it the other day, and it's pretty sick, and it's super strong.
Interesting. That sounds pretty cool.
Like it has a wizard hat and wizard robes and everything.
Oh, really? So it is a straight up a fire wizard.
No, I mean it looks different, but if I had to liken
Selkie says Wixen.
Wixen, thank you.
There you go. We got the Pale World expert here in the chat. Shout out to Selkies.
Shout out.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it. And that you're like playing it to death. I'm glad someone here is playing it and talking about it too. Because it is like
Selkies is 140 hours in.
No way.
Good night. I wish I had that amount of time.
That's wild.
I was just thinking, oh, maybe I could do like an hour before I go to bed tonight. And Sucky was like, yeah, I'll do about 10.
Oh man, that's so good. 140 hours. I don't know if I have 140 hours into any game. Like maybe probably Metal Gear. Like honestly, over the course of my that's the thing. Over the course of my like 30 years of existence, you know, I have that many hours in a game. Oh man, why?
I mean, I have hundreds of hours in Animal Crossing, and I'm sure I have a few hundred, you know, collectively over playing Kingdom Hearts all these years.
Selkie says, I'm addicted to it. It's so fun. Just making pals stronger, breeding, and finding new ones. Yeah, that's another thing I forget is like, not only are you training them and finding new ones, like you mentioned, but I forget the breeding aspect too. Like you can, you know, just like you can in Pokemon, kind of put a couple Pokemon together to see what happens. You get the same one, you get different ones, you get the baby versions, you get whatever. Like
you get the giant ones.
Yeah, because in Pale World they have the lucky ones, and they're basically like their version of shiny but they're like giant. I love my giant Chickapee is still my favorite. My lucky Chickapee, it's like the size of my house.
It's so big.
It's so freaking big. I love it. It's so good.
How about yourself? What have you been playing, good sir, if anything?
Yeah, I have been playing real Pokemon.
Really? Talk to me.
Yeah, I have. So before, when was it? It was like, I forget what game came out and distracted me. But before I got distracted in the last month or two, I was playing Pokemon Legends Arceus. And was getting super back into it. I was like, man, like I love this game. I loved it when I played it before. I loved it when I played it then. And then I fell off again because another game came out. Dredge took me away from it. And even Dave the Diver. But I was like, no, I started it again. I need to finish it. So I went back to it. And let me tell you, that game is so good. I love it.
That's interesting because some could liken Arceus to Pal World. So was it just Pal World specifically that wasn't your cup of tea? Or do you think it's just the way that Pokemon does things that appeals to you more?
But Pokemon's not a survival game. Like Pal World at its base is just a survival game like Minecraft.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Minecraft. Like that's what it comes down to. Where Pokemon is just, I'm still just going out in the world and catching Pokemon. It's a Pokemon game.
But you're crafting food, you're crafting Pokeballs, you're crafting things to traps and whatnot, and you know.
But there's not like a hunger mechanic I got to be careful of, or a cold mechanic, or I don't need to worry about building a house and maintaining a base in a house. Like it's very much like you basically they just replaced buying Pokeballs like you do in the old games with crafting, and that's it. Like that's really the big, and having an open world, which I mean, even an open world isn't new because it's been in Sword and Shield and Scarlet Violet now. So it's like, or I guess technically all Pokemon games have been quote unquote open-ish world games, but in the 3D space, if you know what I mean. No, I think it's mostly just the in Pale World. It makes me feel like if I don't do these survival things, I will die, and that will ruin the game experience for me. I don't like losing. I don't like dying.
Right.
Like I would rather play a game on easy mode than have the chance of me dying at any point.
Fair. Okay.
And so Pal World is so like stressful to me because there's so many systems you got to manage to a certain extent to just survive, where Pokemon is just like make some Pokeballs and go out in the world and just catch stuff.
Catch away, young man.
I like this. It's childish and I love it.
Full confession time.
Yes.
I have actually never finished Arceus. I need to go back. Yeah, I don't know why. I think something also pulled me away from it. Was not enjoying it. Was having a really good time with it, and I think something else just came out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's what happened to me twice now with Arceus, where when it first came out, something pulled me away, and then just recently I picked up Dredge, which happened to be my game of the year for last year. Also, it pulled me away, so I'm like, no, I need to finish it because, yeah, the story is interesting too. like it being kind of like a prequel to Diamond Pearl, like in the Sinnoh region, stuff like that, like Team Galaxy, but it's good. So far, they're the good guys. Like, because in Team Galaxy, they're the bad guys in Diamond Pearl, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I Diamond Pearl, I've only.
Didn't you play the remake?
I never played the originals. I picked up the remake, but didn't get very far because
didn't appeal, or something came out.
I think for me, just something else came out and pulled me away. I can't remember what it was, but Pokemon games, to me, are just such an easy thing to walk away from and then pick up later because, in general, there's not like a crazy story that builds on it. So it's not like if I go back like a year later, I'm not gonna be like, now what was happening? It's like, all right, I get the gist. Like, it's pretty easy to figure out what's happening in a PlayStation or in a Pokemon game. But yeah, so I if anything, I'm like really excited to get Arceus done, so then I can go back to the Diamond Pearl remakes and be like, okay,
go to the future.
This is this world in the future now. Team Galaxy are the bad guys, and what's the deal with this? I don't know.
It's gonna be so trippy for you when you're like, wait a minute, that person looks like this person, and that person looks like this person. When you find out everybody is a descendant of somebody.
Everyone is related? What?
What do you mean people go on for generations? What are you talking about?
Yep. So yeah, Legend Arceus. It's a fun game. It's just like, and especially compared to, because I did not vibe with Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet. Didn't really super like. So Legend Arceus was like just a nice breath of fresh air as far as recent Pokemon releases. And Diamond Pearl too, that was fun because I did play a little bit of that. I played a little bit. I'm like, okay, even like so much of it, I'm like, to me, this feels like classic Pokemon just with a new skin on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually really like Diamond and Pearl, but I just fell off it because I think something else came out. So now it's like, all right, those two games really hit it off for me. I need to give them the time of day here. Like they deserve that because it's like, all right, like Arceus, Legend Arceus did the open world thing differently than Sword and Shield and Scarlet Violet, and then with Diamond Pearl remake kind of actually refreshing the old game, because that's what I wish they did with like Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. Those are remakes of Yellow. It's basically a remake of Yellow, but they put the Pokemon Go things in there where you can't.
Well, because Pokemon Go was real hot at the time, so it makes sense why they did it.
I wish they'd patch the game that like let you choose. Like, all right, for little kids you can play the Pokemon Go version. For like grown adults who love that game and that story can play it normal. Like that would be great, because that had so much potential. I was so stoked for Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, and then I'm like, oh, what? Does the Pokemon Go on my TV? Why?
Question.
Yes.
On topic but off topic.
Yes.
Do you think we see a full-on ground-up remake of Red and Blue? Like they wiped the slate. They just not necessarily. I mean, they're gonna keep making the new Pokemon games, of course, but like we get a Red Blue. It's just the 150. They ground up remake it. They make it simple. I do. I think maybe like around the 30th anniversary, I think we could see. Wait, no, is 30th this year? Or this decade? Or is it next decade?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure when it is. I off the top 96. Of my head.
Or is it 96 or 98? Oh wait.
I mean, it'll be
so 28 would be 30.
Yeah. So it's still a few years out. I would love that, but I don't
know if it'll appeal to kids though. That's the hard part.
Pokemon generally only does things when it's related to either another game or an event, like you mentioned, like an anniversary. Like the only reason I think they remade Diamond and Pearl is because it literally came out within like a month or two of Legends Arceus.
Yep.
And so
trying to capitalize on that.
So it's like, oh, it's in the same region, different time periods. Here you go, boom, boom. Where Red and Blue, for them to remake that, it would have to be around an anniversary of the product, or there's another game coming out, like they do, maybe do another Legends games, which would be amazing. If that was a continual series where it's Legends in just different regions.
Oh, a Legends Johto or a Legends Kanto. Oh,
yeah,
man.
If they did a Legends for that region, whatever legendary Pokemon they decide to go with, and make a game around that, then I could see a remake. But unfortunately, I think that's less likely than just a 30th anniversary remake, honestly.
Yeah,
as sad as that is, like I wish they would make more Legends games, but I have a feeling it might have just been a one-off thing. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know, because that's the one that everybody is unanimously like, hey, that's the good one. You know, they don't talk that way about Sword and Shield. They don't talk that way about Scarlet and Violet. But when you talk about Arceus, everybody goes, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
So to only make one of the one that everybody was like, that's pretty good, it seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, go play Pokemon Legends Arceus. It's a good game. All right. Well, that is it for this show this week. Thank you all so much for listening or watching, wherever you happen to catch this, whether it's on your podcast feeds, on podcast apps around the globe, or over at youtube.com/supergamerboys. We appreciate each and every one of you taking the time out of your day or night to listen to us, to watch us, to join us live here Monday nights on stream. Over at twitch.tv/thesupergamerboys. We appreciate it. You guys are all fantastic, all awesome. Yeah, we're just so thankful for all the people who support our stuff, whether it's by telling your friends about us, sharing it on social media, sharing it word of mouth, just face to face with your buddy. Be like, hey, that's what we've told you to do this before. I think it's time to put this PSA out there again. Next time you're with your friends, take their phone. Just don't even ask them. Just take their phone.
Just do it.
And then I need you to go to their podcast app and subscribe to our podcast there, and open up their YouTube app and subscribe to our channel there, and be like, you're welcome, and hand them back the phone. Don't tell them what you did, and make sure notifications are on. So that way they don't know what you did until the next time we go live or the next time we put out a video, and then they get notifications, and they'll be like, that was worth it. That was worth the wait. But if you really love what we do, you could also support us by going to patreon.com/supergamerboys. Support us over there. Every dollar helps tremendously. It's not cheap to host a podcast, to have a website, to do all the things, to keep this stuff up and running. Even just running costs money, let alone we like to be able to buy games once in a while to actually talk about on the show. We use a lot of the money to purchase games, to talk about for your guys' enjoyment, and also buy equipment when things just inevitably break down or stop working, or we need something bigger and better. So think about supporting us over there. We'd very much appreciate it. And also sgbstore.com to buy that sweet merch. Get that dad hat, get that coffee mug, get that sweater. It's been chilly. I'm down here in Southern California, and you know what? Sun's not been shining. It's been raining. It's been cold. And you know what? I know people are going to be like, oh, well, out here in Wisconsin, it's been like negative 40 degrees.
Did we ask?
You know what? I didn't ask you. Well, what I can tell you is I'm used to 70-degree weather, and it's not been 70 degrees and sunny. So I'm going to complain about it, and you got to put up with it. So there's that. Rate and review us where you can. We'd appreciate it. Over on Apple Podcasts, over on Spotify. All the reviews help. Every review helps incredibly. So the more the merrier. If you have an Apple product, please go over to Apple Podcast and leave that review. If you have a Spotify account, I don't even think you have to pay for a Spotify service. Even if you have a free account, you can go and review things. So go over our channel there, leave a review. It'd help our channel get found by more people. Shout out again to DJ Trooz, as well as Jack Sriracha and Yate, for allowing us to use their music here on the show. You can find them on Apple Music and Spotify. Links will be in the show description of the episode on your old podcast app, on the YouTube channel. Go down to the description, you'll find the links there. You can find us during the week at supergamerboys.com, Twitter and Instagram at supergamerboys. I am on Twitter and Instagram at gmorlang. Adrian, where can they find you at?
You can find me any and everywhere at Homeboy, HOLMBOI.
There we go. And with that, I'm out of stuff to talk about. So Adrian, go ahead and take us out of here.
Sounds like a plan, folks. As always, thank you for hanging out with us for another week of the Super Gamer Boys podcast. As Garrett said earlier, we appreciate any and all forms of support, even if it's just listening and telling your grandma's third cat about the podcast. Can cats subscribe to podcasts? Maybe. Yeah. We don't know what cats do when we're not home.
That's true.
You never know. So it's best to cover your bases. But seriously, thank you for hanging out with us. Every little bit helps. Every little bit is greatly appreciated. And it helps us to continue doing what we're doing now and hopefully get to a point where we can do it all the time. Yeah. That would be awesome. So with that being said, we'll see you again soon. And until next time, we are the Super Gamer Boys.
And we'll catch you on the flippity flop.
The Goomba agenda must cease. It must cease.
No. Goombas rise
up. No
up.
more Goomba-ganda.